Kia ora whānau, back again with another podcast, talking with Tupuria King. It's been awesome to interview some of the coaches along the way. I did interview Karina and we had an awesome chat for ages, for about an hour. But unfortunately, due to some technical issues, that video did not save. I was going to quickly just depack on that one. Because Karina's obviously busy lady. She's actually at the moment at the Gorge race, racing in that. She'll come back, then they'll go to Samoa, and she's got a few other trips along the way. But I just caught it all about the challenges. She's with the para team or the adaptive team, her and Nathan. And it's their second time running this campaign for the New Zealand elites with them. She was saying, it's a new challenge. She always wanted to help out and coach a new team, and this is something she felt that she hadn't really contributed towards that much. So this was the time to step up and help out. Obviously, each paddler has their own limitations with the limbs, etc. So there's a few challenges with the stroke itself. Some people might have more movement in the lower body, upper body, more rotation, more stability, etc. So it's trying to find for her the common ground with all their paddlers. They have to have 2 female and 4 male paddlers, and she said the trainings have been going really well. She really acknowledged the work that Nathan, the other coach, and her manager as well puts in. There's things that you don't, as a able-bodied paddler, you don't think about. But Nathan is a paramedic, so even the traveling, etc., and all that, there's a lot of different challenges that come with that. So I wish the para team all the best. Also, the only coach I haven't talked to is Open Women's. Not sure if I'll have much time before Samoa to get that done, but if I do, I'd love to post that up and have a chat. They've been doing some awesome stuff. All I've heard is great feedback from paddlers that were involved in the trial process, that are involved, and also from outside people that are helping out. So all the best to those Wahine Open Elites team as well, and also to all the club members over in Samoa. We wish you all the best. Go hard, represent Aotearoa well. Also, before we get into it, encourage you just to share the video, because I think you get great learnings from listening to this. And if it's only me posting, then it's only limited to my friends. But I do ask Wakama New Zealand to post, okay, just the YouTube link, because I think people, could really take a few things out of this, especially this one. So great chat with Tipu. We talk about not only Samoa and the New Zealand Elite Men's, but we start with Molokai, the challenges there, how people can get involved eventually in next year, and also we talk about Te Aito, and there's some good little gems he talks about, and I try and delve a little bit deeper into the conversation. So further ado, let's clip over Tupuria King, New Zealand Open Men's Elite Coach. Let's go. We're back again. Another chat. So a few things. It's been a while since we've done this, but you've had a busy few months. Been racing in Hawaii, back in Tahiti. So how's that gone? Maybe start with Hawaii. How was that? So Molokai?
Yeah, bro. It was cool to finally get back to Hawaii and get another Kaiwi solo under the belt. That was my second solo, and my first solo was 8 years 8 years ago.
Sick.
So it was cool to finally get that one through. It was when I was in Hawaii last, or when we were in Hawaii last in 2019, it was supposed to happen, but it got cancelled because of the wind. It was too strong headwind. So Yeah, and even just to be able to get back to Molokai, during COVID, there was a few difficult situations to get across there and make those races happen. But it's cool that things have opened up, and
Yeah.
yeah, man, tough race. I wouldn't say it was a tough race. I felt like it was I felt pretty comfortable and happy with how I felt physically. But it was definitely a pretty competitive year, and a race like that, your choice of line is really important. Well, we like to say that anyway, but at the end of the day, you still got to have the fitness to paddle that channel. But Tutiari Huatua, was on a clear path to winning that. He was just, from start to finish, I reckon he was one of the smartest. Just picked his line and went for it, and unfortunately ended up on the reef. And Danny Ching, who's also a master of that channel, capitalized on that and got the win. So, yeah.
And how long is it? So 50 something kilometers?
Yeah, 52 kilometers.
Yeah.
So
supposed to be downwind, but a little bit of side.
Yeah, a little bit of side, which is normal for that channel. Like that's kind of a trade wind to come a bit from the right. But for the first, I want to say 30 kilometers of the race, the surf was pretty good, pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then in that last 20, I would say that's where you really felt the angle of the wind. So if you were south of the rum line, which is, the straightest line that you could be, then it's not really going to pay off because you're now having to turn up, like kind of up and surf into it.
Yeah.
But if you capitalized on the easier angle, the surf in that first 30 Ks, where it's actually
high.
Easier to, at that point, it's easier to surf up than it is, even though you feel like, oh, it looks pretty straight, like I'll go now. You still would have been better off in that last 20, so that you have a better angle coming into Oahu. But in saying that, wind isn't the only factor, and some years the wind will be the same like that, but going south would have been better, and that might have been due to the current or something. You never know what you're going to get. So.
And how was your performance?
I finished up 8th. I was coming into China Wall at 6th place. Yeah. And then I got passed by a couple of, leading up to the race, like I often practice, it's important to go and practice the finish. That's partly the reason why Tutiari ended up on the reef, because he had never been to the finish line. And, I was catching all these waves, showing Narada which waves to catch. And then in the race, it was pretty big swell. And I didn't even catch one wave because I was too scared to risk it. And Kainoa came in on my right, and he risked it, took that first wave at China Wall and put 50 meters on me. And with about 200 meters to go, the last reef, Miles came on my left and risked it and went straight over the reef. Like if you get into the right position, looks like you're going to get smoked, but you can actually catch the wave and go over the reef. And he passed me on my left, and I was like, shit, so the race isn't over until it's over. You got to,
And during the race, like, what's some things like for newbie paddlers or any paddlers? What's your what are you thinking about, especially during like a downwind race and a long distance one?
It is a different race. Like, just because of its distance, it catches a lot of people out. Like, so what I've seen over the years, and even with myself, is that even when the first time I did it, I was so used to races, around the 28, 30 kilometer mark, and doing well in those races and whatever. But in this race, man, you can't really race it like a normal race. Like, you have to be a little bit conservative. Yeah. Even the way that you train for it's kind of different too. Like, especially because there's a large component of surf in it. You have to learn how to become a little bit efficient and use the waves and whatnot. So what I tend to see is like guys who are like maybe the top, they might be the best even in their country, long distance wise, up to the 20 to 30K mark, don't necessarily always do well in their very first race in the solo. And that's what I was told when I went over there. I think when I went there, I think I was the New Zealand distance champ and I was doing well in Tahiti. But someone Travis still told me, he's like, well, this channel's going to chew you up. And it did, because I just kind of only really prepared for 30Ks. And then I just hit this wall, like, boom, like, damn, what do I do now? You know, like when you hit the wall and you've got to like push through. If you've never experienced it before, it can catch you out. And I've seen that happen with, you know, top New Zealand paddlers, top Australian paddlers. You know, it pays to just get one under your belt first and then look to come back, you know.
So like nutrition's key, the start, you know, not pushing for everything, but trying to ride the wave as much as possible, link, but kind of keep your composure a bit more and not really like bust your ass.
Yeah.
Because I've heard it's like, you know, it's people that do well is the ones that survive, you know, like can execute their, or stay, not push too hard, you know, throughout the whole.
It's funny because, like, you can when you think of it as a 50-kilometer race, you think, oh, I've got to do a shit ton of mileage and distance to get under my belt to do well in this race. And it probably would probably be the case if it was dead flat, you know. Like if it was dead flat, you need fitness to get you to the finish line. However, when it comes to surf, like, because it's like moments of pushing, getting on the wave, relax, and then push, you know, it's kind of interval work. If you don't have like sufficient strength and power, which a lot of mileage, like especially flat water paddling mileage, you can kind of lose that edge of being like, just being kind of on the healthier side of being fit, you know. What I've found is, like, you know, you can come into this race with a ton of mileage under your belt, fit as, but if you don't have like that explosive, or even just the anticipation for when to push and when to relax, then it can catch you out. Because you can go as hard as you can, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get to that end first. Like, you got guys who don't probably nowhere near their peak anymore, but because they just have the experience, they may not have the fitness at all. You know, it might be on any flat day they would lose, but they come in healthy. And if you come in healthy, like, what I mean by healthy is maybe even a little bit on the heavier side. When you get to that 30-kilometer mark, you've still got a bit of like power in you to get to the finish line. Whereas if you come in overtrained, which I did in 2015, I did crazy mileage, and I got there and I just had no power and to get on the waves and whatever. I went as hard as I could for sure, but that's probably why I hit the wall at 30Ks, and then I had nothing left, you know. So it's just experience.
Big learnings, well. And so you did mention Narada, so there's a bit of a New Zealand contingent of paddlers or male paddlers that went over. How was that, bro? Like having them there?
Yeah, it was awesome. And, you know, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, but that, you know, he's probably just an example of that too. His first time solo, you know, I even told him the story of like Travis telling me that I was going to get, you know, tuned up. Like, this channel was just different. And we all know that he's a hammer, especially in flat water. Like, he can go.
Sure.
And, you know, arguably he's one of the fittest paddlers, even on that start line, you know, over in Molokai. But if you just lack that little bit of experience in the surf, and maybe a few of the other things like nutrition strategy or just general, like, you know, one thing that Narada probably lacks is a little bit of like doesn't really know how to rest, rather when you're leading into a race, you know, he just like can't sit still. So he was doing hikes that you know, a couple of days before in the sun. So little things like that. You learn a lot when you do your first solo, for sure.
What's your prep like a week before? Like, you go for a couple of pedals, just a bit of a blowout, check it out, and just stay hydrated and relaxed?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I think I'll try, and before that big race, I'll get that week leading in, like, because the race is on Sunday, I'll rest Saturday, Friday, and Thursday too.
Yeah.
But maybe those Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, still going out and getting at least an hour in, you know, but trying to get it in on the surf, you know, so that you are getting that specific adaptation, and you're getting used to your canoe and all of that. Because the last thing you want to do is go in kind of overcooked, but you don't want to go in too undercooked as well, you know. So
for sure. Nah, me. And then so like there are a lot of logistics to it. So say if a New Zealand paddler, like some of the boys, wanted to go over next year, what is some of the stuff they got to sort out? Because I know like Narada had a bit of trouble with canoe and stuff like that. Like you want to be on the race line relaxed and ready to go. And I heard there was a bit of, you know, confusion, etc. So obviously you have to sort out support boat.
Yep. So for this race here, you need a support boat. You need obviously accommodation in Oahu, in the main island, but you also, if you're going to travel over to Molokai before the day before the race, or maybe even a couple of days before the race if you wanted to, you'll need accommodation over there. You'll need a boat. If you can't borrow one, then you probably need to hire one, which can be, you know, on the expensive side, depending who you borrow it off. Just make sure you sort out what you're going to pay before you go, and not let them tell you what it is after the race.
They catch someone out or what?
Someone else. So I would recommend going over the day before, you know, at least the day before, because it saves you a lot of, like Narada will tell you, he came up on the support boat the morning of, which a lot of people do. A lot of people even fly over the morning of. But for me, if you really want to do well in this race, it's easier just to
be there,
sort
it all out,
get a good sleep, and ready to go. So the biggest difficulty this year was the big swell and getting out. So we had a bit of issues there, and one of the issues I had this year was partly due to that, because we had to like kind of get out into the break, out of the break, and I made it out. I actually paddled Narada's canoe out, and I got it out there, and it took me a while to find him, but then I finally got to my canoe, and I want to say by the time the race started, I was had been sitting on my canoe like almost an hour. And I was like, damn, that was not good on my part. And I remember at one point looking up, and I seen like all the Tahitians, Kevin and that, who were well looked after with their support boat. Not that I wasn't. It was just that they had made contact with their support boat early, which I would recommend doing. Get contact with your support boat early. Get on your support boat rather than getting straight on your canoe, and just chill. Chill on the boat until it's like, you know, 10, 15 minutes before the start. Then get in and do your little warm up, and then.
Did you know it was going to be a little bit later? Was it a set time? And this is.
It was a set time, but because of everyone was struggling to get off the beach, it was delayed about 30 minutes. So I remember we were actively sitting there ready to go for almost 30 minutes before. Like, I had pressed start on my GPS, and we drifted about 1.5 kilometers before the green flag went. So that was kind of one learning. Like, stay there the night before. Just get, as soon as your support boat is there, maybe just get out there, get to it, get on it and chill.
Tie it up.
Tie your canoe up and just, you know, relax before the race, I'd say.
No, nice, bro. And a lot of people have been asking, like especially new paddlers, like about doing races and stuff like that. And I think, like just like you said, like if you do it, like every
Mm.
race you learn something, eh?
Yeah.
Like you learn how to prepare, you learn how to race, or
Mm.
you learn something and how you're going maybe against others. So I think it's about just doing it,
Yeah.
getting out there, and because
100%.
you might start with just the goal to finish, and then you just work your way from there. Um, but and then Tahiti. So TI Tour is a new format this year.
Yeah.
Kind of some new organisation with surf ski and stuff. So how was that?
Yeah, that was epic. I actually really liked the format of having 2 weekends because just I was able to have 4 races, two on the Vata and two on the surf ski, and I really enjoyed that because it just made that, 8 days, 9 days, 4 races in 9 days was well worth it,
That's awesome.
It was there were a few hiccups here and there, but that's probably acceptable when they've kind of taken on so much more. Like, I think it was expected something was, rather than just having one weekend and one race, and mainly in the past only one code, VAR, but now 4 races and Surski Pro, there was bound to be something. So I don't know. I think next year, if they fix up a few simple things, I think it could be a really, really cool event. And yeah, we'll see how Super Aito goes. Hopefully they'll nail that and improve their rep amongst the Tahitians.
Surely, bro. Come on, sort it out.
Yeah, they got 2 months to. From the TI Tour, they've got 2 months to sort out the Super Aito.
Well, being their main sport, like what are they up to, man?
Yeah.
I mean, and there was some boys, young boys, went over as well.
Yeah. It was awesome to see the likes of Manawa, Jake, and Elite, and Remain in that, and
even was Maya there as well.
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yep. Although I didn't see them much until the end of the event, but yeah, it's always cool to like. That's what I was always like not so happy about during COVID was like those years of all of our junior paddlers not having that ability to go and experience Tahiti I did when I was still 21, I think, when I first went to Tahiti and that. So when I look at Elite and Maya getting over there at 15, awesome, 16 years old, it's like, man, you guys are going here 5 years before I did. So it's only going to accelerate their paddling and their learning,
for sure.
So it's cool.
And it's quite a humbling place to paddle. Hey, it's just like so much competition and everyone's pumping and
it's tough.
You got to know how to surf V1 and do everything. Hey, not only that, probably when you get to your level, a lot of political stuff as well happens, and race tactics and all that carry on.
100%. Yeah, Tahiti's it's a very specific place to race. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. Support boats is another story. Like, people talk about support boats and boat wake and that, but like, you still have to know how to surf boat wake. You still have to know certain things like.
Sometimes it can be a hindrance.
100%. When I was my first time racing, like first few years racing in Tahiti, I always hated when the boats come past because it's hard enough trying to like surf the natural swell. And then here comes a boat that comes under, and I'm just like throwing all over the place, because
out of here.
It only takes one kind of fall off to kind of upset your rhythm, and then you're like, damn it, or water comes in, and so
sweet. Tahiti sound good. And so second place in the surf ski overall.
Yeah, second place.
And top 20 in the...
And I just got pushed out. I was 21st, Yeah,
nice.
Which was funny because, 2019, I was 21st. Then 2022, I was 20th, and now I'm 21st again.
Yeah.
So.
And like all the like you see the top got like it's only like a minute, like
Yeah.
in between
Yeah.
the races and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
It's crazy. Like, and the funny thing is like, 20th doesn't seem like a lot, but like, it's almost like to get from 20th to say, top 5, there's a lot of work involved, to get there, like a lot more sacrifice and commitment, which, one year I just wanted to take 6 months off and just, only pedal. That'd be amazing. Only pedal. That'd be amazing. But,
life gets in the way.
Yeah. All about balance, balance.
Yeah, balance, right. And those ones where you like, you focus really on the start to kind of get in that main group at the start. Like you want to have a good start, and then you just obviously a bit of drafting. We're watching the Tour de France, but peloton, the drafting, all helps out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Like getting a good start is pretty important, because it just sets you up. Unless you're really quick, and you can make a comeback later, it just sets you up really well for the race. But the first iTour weekend, I had a really good start, and I had the potential to be, because I remember just knocking with Manutia at the time. And this was going out to the buoy, so I was in the top 10.
Yeah.
But man, the pace was just so fast that it's actually pretty difficult. And then even when you do get into that peloton type of form, it's still pretty difficult to stay in there, because you've only got inches beside, you're in, you're kind of in a bump and you're kind of surfing, but you're also expending a lot of energy trying to minimize bumping into everyone, because it's so easy to go off track a little bit, bump into this guy, and then you guys slow, and then somebody immediately takes your place. So it's a
trying to
mind
stay on
game.
That tail,
stay in the tail, and then there's guys all
watching
around.
him pedal, because you want to stay with him.
It's focus, As soon as you lose your focus, you just open up a little gap, someone's just going to go bang immediately, and then there's no way you can come back into that spot. So I always find myself, and you shouldn't really do this, I kind of go end up on the outskirt, and then in my mind I'm like, okay, I'm gonna break away and come ahead and go on my own path, but it never really works out. You go off and you go, and then inevitably you end up coming back in, and then you're settling. So if you are in a good position, just stay there, because eventually, usually that happens in the flatter components of the race, and you're heading up in the lagoon. Just stay there, try and stay there, stay as long as you can, because when it opens up, turn, come back down with the surf, then you have your opportunity now to everyone just spreads out into the own. But pretty amazing for just shows Manutia's level to be able to be almost always at the front of that pack, and somebody attacks him, he goes,
crazy.
Only one time I felt that level of fitness was 2017, when I did, stay in Tahiti for 2 months. I was leading the race for a majority of the course, but couldn't quite finish it off. That I just spoke about, guys were, behind me for majority of the race, just saving a little bit of energy for that last.
But I guess they're used to that, week in, week out, that's what they're practicing and
100%
and racing, doing that. Whereas here, it's just go out and blitz it,
And it's deceiving, because you go and you train with these guys, and you actually might do well, and you're like, and then you pull up, you finish training and everyone paddles in, and you just see these guys pull these 10 kg sandbags out of their canoe and chuck it on, it's deceiving. Or they'll be just in their heavy plastic canoes during training, but still doing really well, and you're like, okay. Yeah, so you
That-
just never know
yeah.
until you get out on the
That just
race
reminds
day.
me, bro, like a few years ago when we were training, probably 2 weeks before Sprint Nationals with Ash at the river.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're doing like 250s and he's like way behind and we're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you know, fucking that's the year he wins it.
Yeah, bro, yeah.
Ah, like
That's
a
it,
minute
man.
flat. Oh, this guy,
Yeah.
deceiving ass.
Oh, man, yeah. Manute used to do that to me all the time. Like, we'd train together and then pulls this sandbag out. I'm like, oh. So then I'll be getting a secret sandbag, putting it in my canoe.
Tricksters, right?
Yeah.
No, sweet. So, I guess the main reason why, jump on was to talk about the New Zealand men's elite team. So, I guess we'll go right back to trials. What were the trials like? Obviously, I know, but for the people at home, how did that go? And
Yeah.
good numbers.
Oh yeah, man, good numbers this year. Like pretty similar to last year. Like kind of a couple of races and a couple of get-togethers to kind of look at, you know, a bit of physical, bit of 6-man blend, bit of technique.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we had 20, 21, 22 in total. So it was pretty solid group to select from. It was a lot harder this year, probably merely because obviously the long distance is just one race, so pretty much one crew, whereas fortunately last year we were able to, like, you know, although last year I did say to the boys that I was going to, you know, potentially maybe take 6 or 7, but we actually ended up, you know, taking 2 full teams to London, which was awesome because it just kept, like, you know, such a large group all the way through.
Yeah, everyone got to experience it, you know, 12 finals. Yeah.
It was awesome. Like, ideally, that would be awesome to have, like, to be able to continue with a big squad like that all the way through a campaign, you know, but obviously it makes it difficult when...
Even taking 2 teams, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
man, that should be...
If these countries don't want to come, you know?
Yeah, I know. That wouldn't be a bad bid, you know, like having a couple of teams at the Worlds, because, I mean, especially for the long distance, if there's not a large club component, there's probably room for that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at the Sprint Worlds, they, you know, you have the club level and then you have elite level, but here it's just basically one team per age division. So
even like an open men's division club team. Yeah.
As well. Yeah, had chucked some like not quite sprint but not quite long distance races in there, like 12-man, like Haver version races too, where 2 teams come together and race 5Ks or something like that. Man, that would be it. Even better, create a 16-man, like because that's the Havers 16.
I've done it once.
The speed of those canoes,
crazy.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Might have to start that here in New Zealand. 16.
Who's building that?
Yeah, come on up. Should we start a business?
The 8-mans.
Yeah, we just all you got to do is just take a couple of rowing skits, 8-man rowing skits.
Yeah, build it up.
Put them together. Oh, might have to cut this out of the video.
It's a new race, bro.
Oh man,
sprint race.
Bro, that would be epic.
We talk about, you know, inclusiveness.
Yeah,
bro, 16 people on
16,
the waka,
bro. Oh my god, yeah. That'd be a good corporate.
I just remember during the Haver, one of the guys snapped his paddle. And we're like looking, and he's like just doing this, and then everyone's like, "Hey, jump out!" He just jumps out, and we're like, "We carried on, bro."
Yeah,
but it's there. It is pumping.
Yeah.
But anyway, bro, back to the So paddler coach, what's that like? Like, you're probably the only one in the elite system who does both. So what's the good things or difficulties, challenges?
Yeah, the biggest challenge, you know, for me is specifically during the camp, say, where I'm drawn between wanting to be out, on a boat to be able to visually see everyone from the side and coach, live really, then and there.
Yeah.
Whereas versus, I still have to kind of,
Trial
be
as
in
well.
there, trial and keep my fitness up as well, those type of things. So that's probably the most difficult part, especially with the limited time, that we do have to get together, because obviously when you're putting a lot of paddlers together from all around the country, it's pretty hard to get them together all the time. So yeah, making the most of the time that we do together, that's the hardest part, is not being able to step away and just solely focus on the things that you can fix from outside. But
and obviously like as a paddler as well, you want to kind of get good results as well, and show that you're worthy. Like obviously you are, but, if you let that slip, then people, or if you weren't a top paddler, people will be like, what are you up to, right? I'm the captain.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm sure someone would tap me on the shoulder if that wasn't the case. Oh, sorry, bro,
Yeah. And so Wakama, like, right, you got to pick by this certain time. They give you a bit of a time frame.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I and it probably stemmed from past experiences with coaches and selections, where one of the biggest, or the difficult part for the paddlers, especially for paddlers who are basically we're not paid to do it, so they're paying to go to these events overseas and stuff. Kind of receiving the information that you're not going to be paddling, receiving that close to an event can be pretty difficult. So it was kind of enforced that for the coaches to kind of make those decisions as early as possible. So I would have preferred to have a lot more time to extend the trials, but yeah, kind of under the thumb this year, and like I said, last year was good because we could take more paddlers and a bigger crew, but yeah,
I guess like you said, the benefits of picking it early is that you can just focus on that team. People that don't make it can, make other plans.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. Whereas if it gets close as, and then it's like, oh, you're not going, and it's like, holy hell, I could have gone to bloody this race or saved my money and gone to this race. So
100%.
It's probably probably more beneficial. So so you got Casey. Yourself, Narada, Tiri, Manutia, and then obviously Jake and JP, Julius.
Oh, and Simon.
Oh, and Simon. Yeah.
So Jake's our traveling reserve.
Yeah.
And Jules is kind of just helping us out till the campaign.
And that's probably worked out well, eh?
Yeah.
Casey's off.
Yeah, and Manutia's in Tahiti, so it's shout out to JP filling seats. Casey's in overseas now doing a bit of K1, so
how good's that venue? You talk about like best venues in the world.
Oh, bro, that is,
I don't know where that is, but
perfect. Damn, and I'm pretty sure they're staying at the finish line.
Oh,
I don't know, it looked like they were in a hotel right on the finish line there. Like, man, that is epic.
It's pretty good. And so you guys, a couple of trainings already?
Yeah, we've had a couple of camps and a couple of formal camps, and then this year I kind of wanted to make it flexible based on, because we do have a few boys away, but any weekend that we can kind of get together, we'll just kind of organise to get together. And Simon was really good in organising the matahina, managed to secure a matahina, so it's been pretty cool to get some get some time on that, and yeah, looking forward to the next official camp. I'll probably be heading up this weekend, but the following weekend is our joined elite camp. So all of the elite teams will be in Auckland.
Sweet.
So
and all the club teams, is it?
I believe so too. They were invited. Yeah.
So when will you have the full team there?
So Casey will be back for the combined camp. So we'll definitely have 6. And I'm been telling Manutia to get back before that time, but he hasn't booked his ticket yet. But he will for the final 3 weeks leading into Samoa. I'll probably even look to spend a bit of, a solid week or 2 in Auckland in that lead up to Samoa, just to, because like ideally, like the hard part about an elite team, like I said, is like everyone's quite far apart compared to say just the typical club team. Club teams, well, not my club team, but club teams tend to get together quite often, or have the ability to get together like during the week and afternoons. Like that's what makes a club team quite good. So it is, the challenge with a New Zealand team is bringing paddlers from all walks together, and
you're probably a little bit lucky with this group, is that most of you are in Auckland or kind of Bay of Plenty, eh?
Yeah. So that's the good thing. So at least you can, I've told the boys, we're outside of camps as much as you can get together, the better. So you'll see the Auckland boys get together and train together, fill seats where they can. So
and is there any, not secrets, but what do you think will lead to success in Samoa for you guys?
I think the most important thing is basically working together. Like obviously not having a lot of time together. The most difficult part is basically connection, and connection in terms of stroke, and just the simple things. I think if like everyone's got the fitness, everyone's got the everyone's got the physical fitness, everyone's got a good level of experience and that, but what it pretty much all comes down to is how much you put all of that together, as a crew. Come together, work together. That's the most important thing. And then you still got to have that, but then you still got to have that ability to just like, when it matters, put that hammer down. Kind of just start working for each other, because often in 6-man settings,
top 2 inches,
exactly, and like here's the truth: when it comes to a 6-man, as much as most paddlers will think, like you can't paddle 6-mans by yourself, and the easiest way to do that is just like, okay, everyone stop and just make one person paddle. You can't paddle a 6-man by yourself. So like it's often there's 2 ways to go about, like, because in a 6-man setting you're always going to go through rough patches in a race, and like you're going to go through moments where the canoe just doesn't feel like it's running, and it's like gets difficult. But like there could be a lot of reasons for that. Could be shallow, could be current, could be a bit of fatigue here and there, I don't know, whatever. But then there's 2 things you can kind of do with that information. You can kind of like project outwards and be like, like you could blame your teammates or whatever, or you could go inwards and say like, oh, what can I do to am I doing the most I can to help my boys out and help make that, I don't know, just be that little bit of good positive energy that may cause the team to uplift again and go, So I think that's always important too. And in Tahiti they talk about, well, morale. They say morale, boys, like stay like pretty much just means stay positive,
stay happy.
And
might be a physical, like, hey, work on this, or it might be just like a mental
Yeah.
recheck,
Exactly.
Stay
Yeah.
light, or
Yeah, and that's the key, man. Because stay positive, but always kind of be willing to go to that dark place. I think that's one of the most important
And
parts.
who's your big talkers in that boat?
At the moment, I would say Tere is probably looking like our top caller in the middle there.
Yeah.
And then the riders, so we're gonna have the ability to chop. Well, with most races most long distance races that I've even captained and called and whatnot, like there's almost always a part in the race where you yourself as a caller can get pretty tired and start getting quieting off. So I want that ability to, for Tere to throw it to Narada or even throw it to me if I'm at 2 and whatnot, because that's important, because like I said, everyone starts to go through moments of, okay, I'm feeling it here, but chuck it to someone else. You got this, bro. Yeah. And then he can pick it up and who knows, because bring the morale up again. And
that's what like a good team is. They know when someone's maybe dropping, so they can pick it up. Yeah. It's knowing what works for each paddler. One guy you might be able to yell at and say, freaking, let's go pick it up. And someone might hate that. So it's knowing what each person. And I actually learned a lot as a caller through Turi, and like the way he reads the water, the way like he talks, and just keeps everyone calm. But when he wants us to go, then he'll call it, and then when I know when he stopped talking, then that's my time to start speaking a bit more, and that kind of stuff. So I guess it's just time with each other, and figuring that out.
It's a bit like a haka when you're doing a haka and you're going 100%, you can't always go 100% on every, like when your words. But it's funny because like other guys will come in strong when others are like kind of, you know what I mean? When I watch haka, some people will kind of get tired at some point and won't say the word, even if it's the kaya or something, and then someone will come in with just as much, and it makes the haka overall like it's stronger, you know. So
it's like just work of art.
So
mean, right? Mean. That's pretty much it. Tomorrow's going to be hot.
It's going to be hot. 24 Ks. A couple of the boys have singles 3 days before, but that'll be right. It's a bit of acclimatization training for them.
You're a gel kind of guy. I know you got your new format, with your gels.
I think I think the studies showed. I think even 24K race is probably going to be a sub 2 hour race, so it's not terribly long. But it will be hot, so I think hydration will be important, but not necessarily just during the race. Like you won't need a whole lot of water, but what you do before will be important, and it's it's potentially a little bit over that 90 minutes, so a bit of carbs, bit of gel will be good, but it's probably not going to be your biggest concern because it's looking like a pretty competitive year this year. Like there's going to be some good solid teams.
Do you know who's going for Hawaii?
I believe it's Red Bull. Well, I'm sorry, they're not Red Bull anymore. They're a new name now, which I don't know. But so Big Island.
Telesfit.
Is
it?
Oh,
the Tahitian?
No. So I think there's one guy from Telefit in there. I've heard, but I think they're a Bora Bora crew. Their name's like Popote something. So solid Tahitian crew, because I believe they were fourth in one of the recent races. California.
Oh yeah.
I think they got I think Ryland might be in with them.
Okay.
I'm guessing it's
Danny
the like of likes of Will Lichtenstein and maybe Denny. I'm not too sure, but surely. So they'll be strong. New Caledonia, they just work in the shadows. They're pretty up there always, and yeah, man.
Wonder if France will bring a team.
Yeah, France, maybe Brazil.
Brazil will be good.
Yeah, and then man, it'd be good.
Australia.
Yeah, Australia too.
Sweet,
so.
bro. I'll end it there. It's a big chat.
Yeah, bro. I gotta watch some UFC.
All the best, boys, over there. Hope you guys smoke it. Come back with the gold. Put our long distance on the map.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, shot, bro.
Cheers, bro.
Oh, man.
Thanks, bro.
We out.